Let me tell you about a man named Trevor. Trevor is 69 years old. He lived in the same house in suburban Melbourne for 31 years. Same street, same neighbors, same letterbox he painted green back in 1998 and never got around to repainting. That house was his home, his security, and in Centrelink's eyes, his biggest financial protection. Because the family home is exempt from the assets test. Everyone knows that. Trevor knew that. So when he and his wife decided to downsize, the kids were long gone, the place was too big, the garden was killing his back. He wasn't worried about his pension. Why would he be? They were selling to buy something smaller. It was a straightforward move. Sensible even. They sold in March. Settlement came through. $680,000 landed in their bank account. And here is the moment Trevor didn't see coming. The day that money hit his account, Centrelink started counting it. Not in a month. Not after he bought the new place. Not after he'd had time to sort things out. The same day, his pension was reviewed. His assets had gone overnight from a protected exempt family home to $680,000 in cold hard accessible cash sitting in a bank account. And within weeks, his fortnightly pension payment dropped by more than $400. He hadn't done anything wrong. He hadn't hidden anything. He was just in between homes. He was just moving. And it cost him hundreds of dollars a fortnight at the exact moment in his life when he was juggling legal fees, removalists, and trying to find a new place to live in a market that wasn't making it easy. What Trevor didn't know, and what I'm going to explain to you today, is that there is a rule that could have protected him. A window that exists specifically for people in his situation. And almost nobody tells you about it before you sell. Stay with me. Because if you own a home, or if someone you love owns a home, what I'm about to tell you is genuinely one of the most important things you'll hear this year. My name is your name. This channel is where I sit down and explain the Centrelink and retirement rules that affect everyday Australian seniors, in plain language, without the jargon, without the runaround. If you're new here, subscribe before you leave. And if you've got a parent or a friend who's thinking about selling their home and downsizing, please share this with them before they sign anything. What I'm covering today could save them thousands. Right. Let's get into exactly what happens, step by step, when you sell your home and you're on the age pension. First, I need to explain something that a lot of people get wrong about the family home exemption. And getting this wrong is the root cause of most of the pain I see in situations like Trevor's. The family home is exempt from Centrelink's assets test. That is true. Your home does not count as an asset for pension purposes while you are living in it. That exemption is one of the most generous rules in the entire Australian pension system, and it is genuinely valuable. But, and this is the but that changes everything, that exemption applies to the home, not to the money you get when you sell it. The moment you sell, the exemption disappears. The proceeds of the sale are cash, and cash is an assessable asset. There is no grace period built into that transition automatically. There is no Centrelink rule that says, we understand you're in between properties. We'll give you 6 months. The default position is, money in your account is money we count. Starting now. This is the cliff that Trevor walked off. And it is the cliff that thousands of Australian downsizers walk off every single year because nobody warned them it was there. Now, here is where it gets important. Because there is a protection available. It is called the Assets Test Exemption for Sale Proceeds. And if you know about it and you use it correctly, you can shield those sale proceeds from the assets test for up to 12 months while you find and settle on your next home. Let me explain exactly how it works. When you sell your principal home with the genuine intention of buying another one, you can apply to Centrelink for this exemption. The proceeds of the sale, the cash sitting in your account, can be treated as exempt from the assets test for a period of up to 12 months. During that time, Centrelink should not be counting that money against your pension the way they would count a normal bank balance. But, and there are several important buts in this video, so stay sharp. You must apply for this exemption. It is not automatic. Centrelink will not flag it for you. They will not send you a letter saying, "By the way, we noticed you just sold your house. Here's a form that might help you." They will simply reassess your assets based on what they can see, which is a large sum of money now sitting in your account, and your pension will drop accordingly. You have to know to ask. You have to apply. And the timing matters. The exemption also comes with conditions. The sale proceeds must be kept in a form that Centrelink can verify, typically a bank account or a term deposit. You cannot invest those proceeds into shares or managed funds and still claim the exemption. The money must be clearly earmarked as being held for the purpose of purchasing your next home. And Centrelink may ask you to demonstrate that you are genuinely in the process of finding a new property. If 12 months passes and you have not purchased a new home, the exemption ends. The money becomes fully accessible. And if your pension was protected during that period, it will be recalculated based on your actual asset position at that point. Now let me tell you about the deeming issue on top of all of this, because this is the second hit that people don't see coming. Even if you do successfully apply for the assets test exemption on your sale proceeds, Centrelink will still apply what they call the deeming rules to that money. Deeming means that Centrelink assumes your money is earning a certain rate of return, regardless of what it is actually earning. As of 2026, the lower deeming rate is 0.25% on the first portion of your financial assets and 2.25% on anything above the threshold. What this means in practice is that while your sale proceeds might be sitting in an account earning very little while you're looking for a new home, Centrelink will assume they're generating income at the deeming rate. And that deemed income will be counted in your income test, which can reduce your pension even further. This catches people completely off guard. They think, the exemption is protecting me. My pension is fine. And then they get a letter telling them their pension has reduced because of deemed income on their sale proceeds, even though in reality, those proceeds are sitting in a low-interest account, doing almost nothing while they try to buy a house. I am not telling you this to frighten you. I am telling you this so that you can plan around it. Because when you know it's coming, you can manage it. Now let me take you through what you actually need to do if you are planning to sell, or if you have already sold and you are in that in-between period right now. If you have not yet sold your home, the most important thing you can do is contact Centrelink before settlement. Not after. Before. Tell them you are selling your principal home and you intend to purchase another. Ask specifically about the assets test exemption for sale proceeds. Ask what you need to do to apply, what documentation they will need, and how to lodge the application. Getting this conversation on record before the money hits your account puts you in the strongest possible position. If you have already sold and the money is sitting in your account right now and nobody has told you any of this, do not panic. Call Centrelink today on 132300. Explain your situation. Ask whether you are still within the window to apply for the exemption. In many cases, you can still access the protection even after settlement. But the sooner you act, the better. Do not wait. Every fortnight you delay is a fortnight of reduced pension that may not be recoverable. If Centrelink tells you that the exemption period has passed or that your circumstances don't qualify, ask for a review. You have the right to request a formal review of any Centrelink decision. It costs nothing and does not affect your payments while the review is underway. While you are in the in-between period, between selling and buying, keep meticulous records. Keep every bank statement showing where the money is sitting. Keep every email or document related to your property search. If you make an offer that falls through, keep the paperwork. If you attend an auction, keep the catalog. Centrelink may ask you to demonstrate that you were genuinely looking for a new property throughout the exemption period. Paper trails matter. Now I want to talk about something that goes beyond the immediate sell and buy scenario, because not everyone who sells is buying again straight away. and some people sell with the intention of renting rather than purchasing another property. If you sell your home and you do not intend to buy again, if you are going to rent, or move into a retirement village, or move in with family, the 12-month exemption does not apply in the same way. You become what Centrelink calls a non-homeowner, and the assets test thresholds are different for non-homeowners compared to homeowners. Here is the important bit. The assets test threshold for a single non-homeowner is higher than for a homeowner. As of 2026, a single homeowner can have approximately $314,000 in assets before their pension starts reducing. A single non-homeowner can have approximately $566,000. The gap is significant, and it exists because Centrelink recognizes that non-homeowners need more savings to cover housing costs. So if you sell and rent, your assets go up, the sale proceeds are now counted, but your threshold also goes up because you are now classified as a non-homeowner. Whether this works in your favor or against you depends entirely on your individual numbers, and this is exactly the kind of calculation that a financial advisor who specializes in pension rules can run for you before you make the decision, not after. I want to take a moment now and talk about the timing of your sale, because this is something that almost nobody plans for, and it can make a significant difference. If you know you are going to sell, if it's on the horizon in the next year or two, the smartest thing you can do is get your Centrelink situation clearly mapped out before you list the property. Understand exactly how the sale proceeds will be assessed. Understand the exemption and what you need to do to access it. Understand the deeming implications. Understand how the transition from homeowner to non-homeowner status will affect your threshold if you are renting in between. None of this is complicated once you understand it, but all of it is invisible until you know to look for it. And the difference between knowing and not knowing, in Trevor's case, was over $400 a fortnight. That is over $10,000 a year. For doing the exact same thing, the only difference was information. Now, I want to say something about the downsizer super contribution as well, because it connects directly to what we've been talking about, and it's something far too many Australians are missing. If you are 55 or older and you sell a home you have owned for at least 10 years, you are allowed to make a one-off contribution of up to $300,000 per person, $600,000 for a couple, into your superannuation from the sale proceeds. This is called the downsizer contribution. It is outside the normal super contribution rules. It doesn't matter how much you already have in super. It doesn't count toward your annual contribution caps. And here is the critical thing about this that trips people up. You have exactly 90 days from settlement to make this contribution, not 90 days from when you decide to do it. Not 90 days from when you find a financial advisor, 90 days from settlement, full stop. If you miss that window, if day 91 comes and the money hasn't gone in, the opportunity is gone, permanently. You cannot go back. You cannot apply for an extension. The window closes and it does not reopen. Money inside superannuation is assessed differently by Centrelink than money sitting in a bank account, particularly if you are under pension age or if your super is structured in certain ways. For some people, moving sale proceeds into super via the downsizer contribution meaningfully reduces their assessable assets and increases their pension. For others, the benefit is more modest. But the option is there, it is legal, and the 90-day clock starts ticking the moment your settlement completes. This is not financial advice. I am not your financial advisor. But I am telling you that this option exists. It is time limited, and the only way to know whether it is right for your situation is to speak to a qualified professional before your 90 days run out. Let me bring Trevor back for a moment. When I explained all of this to Trevor, the exemption, the application process, the downsizer contribution window, he was quiet for a moment. And then he said something that I think about a lot. He said, "Why didn't anyone tell me this when I was signing the contract?" And the honest answer is that the real estate agent's job is to sell the house. The conveyancer's job is to manage the legal transfer. Nobody in that process has any obligation to explain the Centrelink consequences to you. That's not a criticism of those professionals. It's just a gap in the system. A gap that costs Australian seniors real money every single year. Which is why I make these videos. Because the information exists. It is not secret. It is not hidden. But it is also not explained. And there is a very big difference between information that technically exists and information that someone actually puts in front of you in plain language when you need it. If this video has done that for you today, if it has given you something you didn't know an hour ago, then please do me one favor before you go. Share it, put it in a Facebook group, text it to a friend who is talking about selling. Send it to your sister who's been thinking about downsizing for the past year. Post it in your local community group. Because somewhere in your network right now, someone is about to sell their home. And they have no idea that Centrelink is going to start counting their money the same day the settlement goes through. They have no idea the exemption exists. They have no idea about the 90-day super window. One share from you could save that person thousands of dollars and an enormous amount of stress. Hit the like button if this helped. Subscribe if you want to keep getting information like this. Straight talk, no jargon, no scare tactics. Just the things you actually need to know. And turn the notification bell on, because next time I am going to cover something that affects every single Australian pensioner who owns any assets at all. What actually triggers a Centrelink review, what they look at when they do one, and exactly what your rights are at every step of that process. You do not want to miss that one. I'll see you then.